Okay. Well, Ruben says we're now live, so who's ever watching this, wherever they are, can tune in and listen to me give this second meeting a start and a get-go here. In the meeting, let me introduce the guests in the meeting. And starting in the far corner is the Run to Remember, an event that will take place the early part of next year. Their flyers are on the table. This is a half marathon, 10K. And again, I ran it a couple of years ago. Great course in the middle of Los Angeles. And if you're into half marathons, it's a good effort out there to try that as well. For those of you on the teams that are trying to determine who runs stage 14, well, here is a great test to find out if they can run stage 14 and what they can possibly do over that distance. So a half marathon, for the most part, a flat course in Los Angeles. Give it a try. Just next to them is the LA Police Federal Credit Union. And in talking to the representative there of the credit union, he and I are going to work together to come up with what is a useful gift, as they have the last few years, given a gift to the team captain. That's you. What is a useful gift that will make sense to you for this race? We've done many things over the last couple of years, so if you think of a suggestion, and you're going to save Salvador and I a lot of time trying to dream up what you would want to have and what's practical to you. Clipboards, lunch, flashlights, we've done lots of things over the years. So if you can think of something, email it to us or email it to me and we'll start from there. Next is our rent-a-car representative from Enterprise, that's Mats. Wave your hand back there, Mats. And again, we'll talk a little more in detail here about the kind of follow car that's going to be acceptable. Mats and I talked about that just a minute ago, so look at your follow car, look at your vehicle needs, contact Mats, he'll be in the minutes. Marie, next to them, taking the entry fees, Pat Larrigan, Frank Rauman, Margie Hoffman, and Michelle, who's in the room here, my helper in my office. And Michelle, where are you, Michelle? Raise your hand there. If you get an email from Michelle or a telephone call from Michelle, then it's one step from getting it from me. So I give her a list of things and say, contact these people, this is missing. And she's the one been contacting you to say something's missing. And when she gets either no answer, doesn't get any answer, then eventually I try to find you. And as I told Michelle, normally I don't even try to locate you more than one phone call to your cell number. When I miss that, I go right to your station and I find your captain. If that's not good enough, I go right to the chief of police and say, I'm not getting any action here. Where is this person? So eventually they find you. So let's not get to that. Try to respond to what Michelle asked you for, or I do, and we'll go from there. Our own police, our own Revolver Club store is here, and what they have amongst the things that are important for you to think about are the flashing vests. You will need flashing vests. And since it's early in the race operations, I would tell you, go back to your closet where you have all of that equipment and try those flashing vests and see if they work. Did you remember to take the batteries out? Because if you didn't and you do it now, you're going to find them all corroded and now you've got to try to fix that. But take a look at your flashing vests quantity. Are they functioning? And then again, they have them here and available. Next is Mobile Relay Associates. Again, this is for radios, and those are very needed things that a person and a team needs to have. So be sure that you stop by, show them a little bit. If you know much about radios, You'll be in the know. If you don't know anything about radios, as most of you probably don't, and they'll show you what button to push and how you talk and how you listen, and that's all you need to know. On the table, also in front of you, is a flyer from Omni Radio Rentals. Karen's here today from Las Vegas. Having a cup of coffee with her earlier and talking about the small world that it is. I asked her how long ago did we meet and what were the circumstances. And remarkably, a long time ago now, her husband, a retired cop from LAPD, and when I said, well, what year did he retire? That's something us retirees like to know. He said 1985. I thought, oh, now that's pretty good. That's excellent. If you are on LAPD and you read the blue line, you know most people never make it that far. And looking at the blue line the other day, several, maybe a year or two, time to retire to end a watch. That's not the way to go. So it was interesting to have a chat with Karen, talk about those many, many years that have gone by. But take a look at, and we'll get into a little more specifics about radio needs, communication needs, a seminar that will follow up in a few months, and what you need to know as team captains. Also on the table in front of you is the Scorpion Relay, put on by the Sentry Station LA Sheriffs. A race, and it's interesting, folks. Got a note the other day from Larry Moore's daughter, talking about his accident that occurred on the 6th of November, 2003. And I said, wow, you know, there's many things I forget, mush things together, but I do remember that day very clearly. And this particular relay, the Scorpion Relay, Larry thought was a very good idea. We tried it a number of years until both of us simply pooped out. And that was the end of that race. And it's nice to see a station and a group of people resurrect that, put some energy into it, and conduct a race. A great chance for you to see, can you talk to your team and get them to do the simplest thing? 6 people to show up in Benelli Park on the 2nd of December. Can you do that? Do you have it within you to make that kind of a phone call? And do 6 people want to show up and do this? And you'll find out just how convincing you can be and how dedicated they are to getting out and racing. I spoke to the LAPD women's team the other day, briefly, and what I told them, I told you, and I'll repeat it again. Nothing replaces racing. Training is not racing. And then until you race to determine just how good you really are, then you'll never really know if all you do is train. So get out and race. Take your team out and make them race. And you'll find out very quickly, those that were very good at one time stink today. And those that maybe you never really thought much of, get better because they've actually worked out. So get out and race your team. Here's an opportunity to do it. In a rough, and I mean this is a rough, nose count of how many teams in this race, there are 285. Now that's more than last year, about 10 more than last year. But in the reality of this world, those 285 will be something less before race time ever rolls around. But right now, keeping track of about 285 teams. And once in a while, somebody will send me a text message. No name, no follow-up, nothing, just a message. Sometimes I can answer it, sometimes I just pay no attention to it. If you do not put your name, your team number, something that tells me who are you, Joe, Fred, Alice, I know there's just too many of them for me to keep track of who's who. So please make sure your correspondence, in whatever fashion you send it to me, has something that says, who are you? Otherwise, I'm busily trying to run searches through the database, trying to locate somebody named Jose, of which I've got maybe 10 of them in the database. Which one are you? So please, make sure you do that. Barbara, again, downstairs, been working with me all the years of this race, asked me the other day, do I know how many people are going to need rooms in Las Vegas who are a part of the staff operation? And I said, no. Well, I need to work on that right now. Oh boy, okay. Well, I'll try to piece something of us together, but I cannot give you everybody for sure. But those of you in here need to start working on, and we'll find that the special on the race at the host hotel will evaporate. It will be gone. It will get sold out. So if you're starting to work on that, work on it now, just as I'm going to. And at least those you are certain of will have a place to stay. And those that wait till the very, very, very last minute, they'll be at the circus with all the other folks. Or they'll be paying top dollar for the Motel 6. This is a prime time in Las Vegas. This is the basketball March Madness date. So the place will be crowded. So don't wait. Teams have asked, and several people have asked about hospitality suites. So let's try to distinguish one from the other. If you're looking for a suite, a room where you want to have a dozen people, something of this nature, those are done directly through the hotel. If you're looking for a large room where you're going to conduct an entire CHP team or all of the FBI teams, something of this nature, then contact Reuben Crane, the general manager, and he'll work with you on how to get that done. There are rooms there. There are limited rooms, but there are rooms available for very large parties. Fundraising. This is a fundraising opportunity, this group from National Life and what they do. And maybe they can make life easy for you if it can work. However you fundraise, whatever fashion you do this in, one person takes the fall here. That's you. If it's done incorrectly, you'll be the person taking the fall. And you sure don't want to be that individual. So make sure that whatever you're going to do meets the criteria of your department. Sometimes that's relatively easy reading. Sometimes it's a little vague, a little complex and difficult. But a real key person at your location, station, division, department, somebody there knows where the fundraising activity is best done. They also know where to tell you, don't go there. We already ask everything that person can give, don't go there. So be sure, however you do this, you check here. The Revolver and Athletic Club is not a charity. This is not a charity run. The Revolver and Athletic Club is a 501c4. That's a private membership nonprofit club. That's what that is. A 501c3 is a charity. So it's not a charity event. So when you go to your sponsors and you say what you want to do, and they say, well, is this a charity? And you say, well, I don't know. Well, now you know it's not. And when you tell them it's not a charity, their whole focus changes. From here's a donation of $500 or $1,000 or something of this nature to, okay, what else can we do? How can we help you? So there are ways in which they can work with you, but it's not a charity event. Keep meticulous records. You never know who's going to criticize you. You just don't know. And when that criticism comes in, they're going to say, open the books and let's see the books. What did you do with the money? What did you spend it on? Where are the receipts? So be sure you're keeping this thing meticulous so that there's no criticism of you. Keep your commanding officer informed. Very important. Yesterday and for a few days now, I've been trying to reach the commanding officer of North Hollywood. And I think the only answer for that problem is drive there and knock on his door, because I've been unable to really talk to the commanding officer. Sometimes it's a little difficult, but at least you've made the try. You've made the effort to keep that commanding officer informed of Baker to Vegas, the income and the expenses of the event. On the website today is a 2018 rule book. Not a tough read. This isn't a manual on how to take a radio apart. This is a very easy read. Read the rule book. There have been changes to the rule book, so be sure you're aware of what we're doing. Here are two significant changes. Let me start with the easiest one. No drones. No drones. Period. Not from anybody. Not any team, not any support person, not anybody associated with the race. No drones. Helicopters out there absolutely do not get along with drones, as you're well aware of this. So we have a rule that says no drones. The penalty for this is expulsion from the race. That's how serious this is going to be taken. So you tell everybody associated with you, don't think about it, don't bring it out. I don't care how neat, fancy, nice, whatever. No drones. Next, an explanation and a clarity of a follow vehicle. In the rule book are the dimensions of what will be allowed. And clearly and easily, what I put in there is the dimension of a 15-passenger van. That is the largest, widest, longest, and tallest vehicle you can use as a follow vehicle. Last year I saw several sprinters. I believe that's what it's called. That's too tall. Yeah, nice to be inside of one where you can stand up, okay, but not for this race. Too tall. Can't be seen around. Turn that devil off. They'll have to wait. So again, nothing of that sort. No diesel. No diesel. Someone several years ago said, I've got a turbocharged diesel, you'll never have a problem. I said, no. I mean, clearly you're not a runner, because if you've ever been a runner in your life, you know getting behind a diesel, it stinks. So no diesel vehicle as a follow vehicle. Last year I saw the most interesting, probably the best sign in the back of a follow vehicle with a team number on it. Lit up, very, very big numbers, clearly could see it from half a mile away. Wrote that down, followed up, figured out who to talk to, and last night finally got the chance to talk to the person responsible for that particular number. And after a long explanation, it was clear that the officer, and this is an officer working for Huntington Beach, I believe, has a terrific idea. And the more he explained it, the less I could see he's not going to be a cop very long. His idea is pretty good. And he'll go upward and onward and all of that. The problem isn't that the number isn't great, because it is. The problem is, what does it cost? So our initial conversation, it was $500. Now, $500 for your reflective number in the back of your follow vehicle is probably cost prohibitive, and you're not going to do that. Okay. Now, maybe in this negotiations and chit-chat back and forth, we may be able to work something less, but even if it were $100, I question how many of you in here would spend $100 on your rear number to your follow vehicle. We'll see. You will need a number back there. Smitty, isn't here today, but I will include in his, in the email and in the minutes here, his contact information. And Smitty, who makes the signs that says caution runner ahead, and the number for your vehicle will be here at the next meeting in December. When you see the minutes and you want, if that's what you want, then I would tell you, order them early. When he comes here and you're here, you can pick them up. Which means you need to know what your team number is and be accurate. I sent you yesterday the cross-reference list. Anyone with a 4-digit number on that cross-reference list simply means you haven't paid your entry fee to this point. But everybody else that has paid sees a 1, 2, or 3-digit number. That's your team number. Be sure you have it correct and you're not using the 2017 number. I have started to receive the sworn volunteer information. If you know your sworn volunteer, it's the same person from last year and the year before that and the year before that. That's great. I love that kind of continuity. Complete the form, send it to me. You'll begin to see, as I begin to send out a form status list that will go on the website and will go to you, the team captain, and you're going to see an X in that box that indicates I've received your sworn volunteer. And we're starting to get that information. But very important to the handful of teams in the room and the race that use people who are already going to be at the race. If Glendale Police Department attempted to send Pat Larrigan as their sworn volunteer, then I would send it back and say, Pat's already going to be at the race. Don't give me somebody that's already there. We need all 285 or 79 or whatever it is, volunteers to work on this course, not people who are already going to be there. So if you submit somebody, you forget this, don't know this, don't know how to interpret what I'm telling you right now, then I'm going to send it back to you and say, find somebody else. Fred's already going to be there. Get me another person. The sworn volunteer does not have to be a sworn officer. They can be a civilian personnel. All we're looking for here is, are they reliable? That's key. You got to be reliable. Go to the location you're assigned to, report on time, work, not sit in your car, work, leave when the stage closes. Pretty simple. But in their span of control and in their responsibility lies you, the team captain. If they screw up, show up late, leave early, sit in their car and not work, they don't get punished, you do. The Rules Committee will punish you when that happens. So be sure you're giving me somebody that is reliable. So it doesn't matter to us whether it's a sworn or civilian or your brother-in-law. It doesn't matter, so long as they're willing to work. So be sure that you're giving me that kind of person. John Marnell, the race surveyor, and I were chatting about the need for possibly expanding the number of light towers we use on the race course. And if we do this, and likely we will, then we're going to need additional light tower drivers. Not a tough assignment, and it is an assignment which we give that person a stipend. We pay them to come out to this course, pick up a light tower from Las Vegas or Pahrump, take it to a stage, make it operational, pick it up and take it back. So again, if you're looking through your Rolodex of willing volunteers, then look for this kind of person, a light tower driver. Stage directors, and this will be one of the first things that I look for when I look through your volunteers. Are you giving me a stage director from last year? Are you giving me an OIC? And I'm going to look for that. Now, it happens that one of the teams that's not running this year from Irvine PD, one of their teams. While it was sad to see that they're not going to run, I was sadder yet for the fact that their volunteer was an OIC and handled a very tough assignment at stage 16 on the top of Mountain Springs Pass. So that's going to take some real doing to find somebody else to take that kind of role. So unfortunately, sometimes we lose one of these OICs, and I have to start looking through all of your volunteers, looking for a veteran volunteer, call them myself and say, hey, are you willing to move from this stage to this to be an OIC in an awful spot? Most of the time pretty successfully, but that's what'll have to happen. The communications form. The communications form will go online on a date that I'm not exactly certain just yet, but the due date I am certain. The 26th of January will be the due date for your communications form, which means you, the team captain, will go online, link to the communications form, and complete it. And depending on what kind of communications you're going to come up with, first in gets their choice, last in gets what the cows leave behind. Simple as that. So figure out how you're going to communicate and be sure that you complete this form quickly and get it in long before that due date. Jeff Lee is the frequency coordinator. He will be conducting the communications seminar. And Jeff, in fact, coordinates all of these frequencies. And he will tell you, yeah, if you get it in early, you're probably going to get the frequency you're asking for. Get it in late, and you're going to find out that 3 others already have that. When you go online and you take a look at the rule book, if you're like a lot of folks, you're going to see chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 7, 8, 10. And you'll write me back and say, what happened to chapter 9? It's not in the rule book. I'm going to say, thank you for reading. Excellent. Most people don't ever email me and say, why isn't 9 there? 9 is the medical chapter. And on Monday, I'm going to talk to the coordinator. And later in the week, I'm going to talk to the doctor. And between those two and myself, we will come up with a language that fits chapter 9. We were very successful last year in working with Arrowhead Hospital in San Bernardino and Dr. Troy Pennington. And we will work again with the same hospital and with Dr. Troy Pennington, who was very pleased with their activity. So much so that we will probably have an increase in the number of doctors working the California side of the race course where we have problems. And I said, well, that's good. I'm glad to see that. I'm sure people that are in need are going to look up and see a doctor and hopefully get faster, quicker, better care than ever before. But a follow-up I'm going to do says to the 6 people that were transported last year, 2 by helicopter, 4 by ground, if you're the team captain of one of those individuals, and I will be contacting you to say, is Jones running again this year? Because if Jones is going to run again, then Jones is going to have to show us a release from a doctor that says they're capable of running this race. So anyone that was transported to the hospital, and there were 6 people last year, they're going to have to tell us this. And I will contact you to say, is this person running again? Do they plan to run again? You want that assurance. I want that assurance. They're okay. Having been retired from the department now for 20 plus years, I have fallen way out of the know of reserves. When I left last, a long time ago, there were 2 levels of reserves, and then a 3rd one that was an honorary badge, and you can be a helper. So if I'm correct here, and you can probably do a better job than I can, a level 1 reserve, working in the field, working next to a regular officer, has all the powers of arrest, all of that is one type of reserve. A level 2 reserve maybe a little more restricted as to what they can do, but still works for your agency in that capacity. Both of these levels are capable of running in the race. They're capable of running in the race. If you choose to use a reserve to run, you will run in the invitational category. Okay? Invitational. So if that's what you choose to do, that's up to you. What is not currently, and probably, who knows where it'll be in the future, but right now is not eligible to run are types of reserves that are truly, truly volunteers. And while they do wear a uniform and they look as though they are a reserve in that sense, they are non-paid, non-taken care of civilian personnel volunteers. They're not eligible to run. Must be full-time paid civilian personnel working for the police department, not the city of Huntington Beach or Hawthorne or any place else. They have to be assigned to the police department to be a part of a non-sworn civilian runner. A team must have 2 non-sworns to fit the invitational category, 2. And there must be runners, not drivers, not support people, runners. This happened a few days ago. A friend of mine wrote me an email and said, I want to run the race. I'm an LAPD personnel, and I want to run for a division where her sister is retiring from, and they've been great friends of mine and runners for a long time. And I said, well, the key question is, where did you transfer from? The small specialized unit you work today doesn't have a team, I understand that. Where did you transfer from? She gave me her past 3 or 4 transfers. None of them reached back to the division that she wanted to run for. I had to say no, sorry. You can run for your previous division if you get assigned to a 3-person task force or a small operation or what have you, specialized unit. You can run for the division of your last assignment if that's what you want to do, if the team wants to have you. If the team chooses to use someone like that, if they choose to use a retiree, they cannot run in the station category. There's 2 levels of station category here, or perhaps even 3. So they can't run in the station category. So who you choose to have be eligible for your team matters to the category you want to run in. I'm sure by now several, if not many of you, have taken a look at last year's results, figured out, do you have a chance for a mug? And if you do, you've got to change categories. You're going to go over here where you think it's softer and easier, and you can get a mug. Well, to do that, you've got to qualify. So start looking through what you want to do, and are you qualified for it? I won't go into all the details here about eligibility, enough to say that January the 1st, 2018, if you've been hired from that point, from now till then, you're going to be eligible. After January the 1st, you have to have graduated from an academy. Highway Patrol, LAPD, LA Sheriffs, what have you. If they've been in an academy and they graduate in February or they graduate in January, they're eligible to run. And like a lot of LAPD divisions, they're going to go right back to the PT staff and they're going to say, can any of these people run? No, 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 yes. Are they coming to Southwest? No. Oh, well. But if you get lucky and somebody comes to your station in January or even in February and they can run, well, then they're eligible to run. A team sent me an email yesterday about a photograph and placing that on their bib number. And I said, yes, we can do those things. The photograph they sent me was of a person that happened to have died in an accident. And as tragic as that was. But the photograph they sent me was out of focus. I said, you know, hey, listen, that's going to come out just terrible. Find a better photograph. If you're going to ask for and have a photograph placed on your bib numbers, find the best quality photograph that you can get. Send that to me as a separate attached JPEG file. If you do this in enough time, I have a nice friend that's hopefully willing to take that photograph and adjust it and change it and do whatever it takes to bring it to the best quality possible to put that on your bib number. So again, if you're going to do this, we will cooperate. We'll do this with you. Get it to me early if you can, and we'll get that on your bib number. Same is true for the running baton. The running baton will have that person's name, the agency, and a significant number. What is their significant number? Their serial number, their employee number, their call sign, whatever it is. We'll place that on the running baton. So again, if this is something that you know now, well, then it's not too early to get me that information. There will be a vendor show at the finish line. Ruben is in charge of that operation. If you have a vendor or somebody that wants to sell widgets or whatever the case may be, then send me the contact and I'll forward it to Ruben and we'll try to take care of them. Many things out there in that desert, few things change or move. Baker School is still there and will be for the foreseeable future. It is your contribution, each one of you in this room, each team here, that contributes $50 a team to a donation check to Baker School. Last year, that was a little over $13,000. I'm assuming it'll be just a little more than that this year. Those dollars go a long, long ways to support their athletic program there at Baker School, and we're happy to do that. And we're going to do that again this year. The start times will be in the minutes. Again, 9 start times, roughly 31 teams to start. And we'll try to do the very best that we can to keep this thing consolidated to a span of 9 hours at the start and around 6 hours at the finish. In talking to the Nevada Department of Transportation as late as yesterday, and trying to follow up and say, will there be construction on Highway 160 at the top of Mountain Springs Pass? And right now, I can't really determine the yes or no of that. I know they don't work in the wintertime, not without snow shovels out there. You're not going to do that. So sometime in the spring, there may be efforts to improve that road that'll affect our race, but that's a ways away. But for right now, we're going to plan the 9 starts. We're going to plan the slowest at the beginning and the fastest at the end. If you're a fast team and you're a new fast team, then I'm going to ask you to send me the time trial times of all 20 or 25 runners you have. I want to be sure you're calculating this correctly, because to be wrong at the fast end is disastrous. Wrong in the middle, we can accept that. Wrong at the beginning, and we just stop you. But at the end, it has to be that you are, in fact, a fast team to start at 4 o'clock or even 3 o'clock. We don't close the road. We do not close the road. Not in California, not in Nevada. And yesterday I was chatting with an individual that wanted to ride a bicycle on race day, on the race course. And I said, well, much as I can discourage you, it's not a good idea. For a whole host of reasons, it's not a good idea. It's a public highway. I cannot stop somebody from doing that. But I can tell you, if you were out there riding your bicycle on Highway 127 right now, then you better be sure that all of your bills are paid up, your will's made out, everything's squared away, because some truck's going to take you out and you'll never even know it. That's how dangerous 127 is when there's no shoulder and just a narrow road, and nobody's looking for a bicycle out there. Last year, the bicycle lane was closed from Pahrump to Las Vegas because of that construction. Whether or not there's construction out there this year, we don't know. But again, this is all about possibilities and further information as it comes along. I can tell you that the roundabouts in Pahrump are done. I don't know how they're working. I have any idea. And there are probably still people going around and around trying to figure out how to get out of it. But they're there. They're operational. In the not so distant future, I'll take a ride out there and take a look for myself. My surveyor has been out there. John Marnell is telling me that perfectly easy to get through this, maneuverable to get through this. And while we have great cooperation with the 9 county sheriffs, we'll probably ask them not to block the road. Last year they blocked the road from 160 all the way to stage 11. The road was closed. Great for the runner, great for the follow vehicle, but there are probably a lot of teams that got themselves lost trying to figure out how to get from Las Vegas to stage 11. And so we'll ask not to close the road. It isn't necessary. The roundabouts are finished. The road is extremely wide through that area. We can get through there without any problem, and it'll open up the roadway. New team captain seminar. If you're a new team or a new team captain or somebody that just wants a good refresher course, plan on January the 25th. We'll conduct it here. That's the same day as the meeting. 08:30 in the room, just open up through those doors. We'll put on a seminar and try to give you, team captain, new ones, new teams, the best information possible on how to get through this race the safest, easiest, and fastest way. If this interests you, then later on we're going to ask you to RSVP so I can get a nose count and figure out how many people are showing up. A wish that I have, and perhaps it can come about this year, is to get a photographer, Vince Aguirre, if you're listening here, Vince, to get Vince Aguirre and perhaps a few others to sit down and video what should a follow vehicle look like. And with that, what's the best way to handle the operation of a follow vehicle? How many crews does it take? Where do you make those exchanges of crews? How do you do this? What's the best way to do it? Put that into a video, put it on the website, and perhaps educate as many as we can into a better way of operation of a follow vehicle. I watch them. I'm out there all night long. I see some excellent follow vehicles. I see some poor ones. Now, the poor ones are just good-natured people you gave the assignment to that never read a lick of information on how to do anything except drive a car. And there they are, riding alongside the runner, having a conversation with the runner, blocking traffic behind them. They didn't read the rules. I'm yelling at them, and they finally figure out maybe it's not a good idea to make Chuck Foote mad at you. So they move over. But let's not go through all of that. And if a video can help, then we're going to try to see if that isn't possible. I'm sure not the person to try to do that any more than I am trying to do this. But hopefully Vince is a willing soul to try to do it. Due dates. I was hopeful that I would have today a sample of the T-shirt for this year's race. Unfortunately, I don't. They are the same, I'm assuming Ruben here, the same material of last year? Very similar. Okay, well in clothing that can be anything, from silk to rag. And as a pause for a moment, went to a run. where was I? Griffith Park. Jimmy Stewart Relay. How many ever ran the Jimmy Stewart Relay? Oh God, the dinosaur, you and I, about the last two people on earth that ever did that. One of those years, they had a T-shirt out there. They're good-natured people. They don't know peanuts about running, but they're just good-natured people. And they bought T-shirts from a company. You wouldn't wash your car with that shirt. But there it was, and they were giving them away. And I looked at it and I thought, this is so poor that it's laughable. And it was that poor. You want to show it to people and say, this is awful. Yeah, so T-shirts can range from any situation. I was hopeful only really to show you the size range, extra small to 2X. On the website is a T-shirt order form. I'm going to make a stab at 3,000 shirts. A ballpark guess at what sizes will be needed that will be available on the 14th of December, the next team captains meeting. So at that point, if you know already what size shirts you want, you'll fill out that form, send it to me. The shirts will be here. We'll have a supply of volunteers to issue those shirts, and we'll get them to you. The next shot will be in January, which will probably be an additional 3,000 shirts. February, the last opportunity to get them to you. So we have those 3 opportunities. Eventually, I'm going to need to know, what do you want? If you wait till the very last minute, then unfortunately, you're going to get nothing but extra smalls or 2X. So be sure you don't wait till the very last minute to order your T-shirts. Team category, February the 1st, 2018. You've got plenty of time to think about the category you want to run in. But if you already know you're a 300 category, you're a station category, you're an open category, if you already know, the form is on the website, complete it, send it to me. Just takes one less iron out of the fire. Your volunteer, the 17th of February. So basically 1 month before the race, I'll have all the volunteers in and I'll make their assignments. First in to pay gets their choice of assignment. Last in to pay, you don't even bother putting a choice in. I'll fill that in. To date, yesterday anyway, Marie and I agreed on 166 teams that paid. Okay, that's about 120 that haven't. Today we'll probably pick up a few more and eventually get to everybody in. But again, if you're last, don't expect that your volunteer is going to get some assignment, and when you've gone to them and they say, well, I want to work the start line. Sorry, that's already full. Or I want to work the finish line. Sorry, that's full. You're going to work stage 13. And then they say, well, where's that? I said, in the middle of the desert. Freezing cold, all dark. That's how it works. So be sure that you've done this. Estimated time, the 26th of February. I'll go through the very, very fast teams. I'll look through the results of last year. Look through those fast teams. Yes, they're the probably easiest ones to figure out. They'll start at 4 o'clock. Go through the really slow teams. If you know that's you. Now, nobody here runs over 24 hours. Because if you do, get up and leave right now. Nobody's over 24 hours. So, but if you're 22 hours or 21 hours, and you know that already, well, then you can probably complete the estimated time and let me know right now. And again, that's an easy one. 8 o'clock in the morning, you're going to start. And when you back up all of your engineering of people and time and shuttling and everything else from an 8 a.m. start, then you know you're leaving Las Vegas at 3 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning to have everything in place for an 8 o'clock start. Again, a reminder of the Scorpion Run. I don't believe of the mug runs, anything is before the end of the year. Am I right? Okay. Unfortunately, they used to have a few runs prior to the end of the year, but I guess that didn't pan out. So if you have 5Ks, 10Ks, what have you in your area, and you want to advertise them, send them to me. Happy to send them out. Again, trying to get everybody to run as much as you humanly can doesn't hurt at all. Racing even better. Does not hurt at all. Do we have our raffle ready? Has everybody finished their raffle? Don't be late now because we're going to pull it right now. You got them? Turn them in. We got everybody's? Oh, wait, one more here. If my grandkids knew that I was giving away a tablet, they would probably say, pull my card, I want to win it. Oh. All right, now do we have them all? Okay, here we go. All right, here's the winner. Ed McCullen. I got it right, Ed? There you are. I could read this. It looks like Upland PD. No instructions. You have to figure that out yourself. I do miss that clock at the back of the gym, folks. I really do. But timing is everything. Having done this a zillion times, it feels like it anyway. My wife says, do you talk the whole time? I said, yes, 1 hour. And my 1 hour limit, and I'm right about there now. So I'll tell you, be sure you come to the next meeting, get your T-shirt order form in if you know what it is, and we'll try to help you out. Have any questions, come on up. We'll see you next time.